Hello, good day. This is Shaquille with Finale Inventory. In this short video demonstration, we'll be discussing how Finale Inventory helps you create and manage returns for your sales orders. Now, there are a few ways to create a return in Finale, but the traditional way is generally from a sales order. So we're going to go find a sales order in Finale, and using that sales order, we'll generate a return. So in Finale, I found my sales order for Laura. We can see that a purchase was made for one product at 50 units. If we navigate to the right-hand side of the sales page, we can find the return section. So returns here, we can create a return for this order. So this will open a modal and it will ask us a couple questions. So when the item was received and where it was received to. This will enable us to create the return and automatically receive the inventory to our designated location. So you may have in Finale set up a returns location, or you may even have set up a use location to represent what that a return is. So I have my used stub location here, so I'm going to be using that. And if you so choose, you can detail the shipping information associated with the return as well. So we're going to create that return order, which will generate a return and create that within the system. So at this point, we can click on the return and we'll see that the return is in a closed state. So that means that the return is already processed and the 50 units are returned to inventory. If we're just looking to return all the products on the order, this is a great way to just quickly create the return without having to do any additional steps, and the product will enter our inventory at the designated sublocation. We can see that was my used inventory location. If we go back to the sales order, we can also see that populated here. We can see that there are 50 return units on the order, which will give us additional clarity and understanding of what happened on this transaction. Let's try this again using a different order and maybe making some changes to that return. So I'm going to go back to my sales orders page and we're going to find another order for Laura. We can see that two different items are on this order. So how do we create a return and detail on that return that only some of the units were returned? So we can go ahead and navigate again to that return section, and instead of clicking this blue button, this time we're going to select add a new return. This is going to enable us to create a draft return where we can make changes and modifications to the number of units being returned to the order. We can also detail the reason for the return as well. So I'm going to go ahead and make some changes to this, saying that Laura is returning 5 original seltzers and she's not returning any cranberry. So we can create this return and we can press receive. When we press receive, it's going to ask us some additional questions again, where we're receiving the inventory to, and we can go ahead and designate that returns location once more. And then we see our return is now closed for the quantity amount there. If we go back to our sales order again, we can review that 5 units were returned. There are still 5 units on the sales order that she decided to keep, and no units were returned for the cranberry. This is how Finale helps you manage returns and create returns within the system. You can also view all your returns within the system, and if you need to discover any additional information or report on that, Finale enables you to do so by recording all the information associated with the return. Now, there are some rare cases where you may not have an order for a return. It's unidentified. Finale does allow you to create a return without being associated with an order as well, where you can populate the units that you received from the units you received to your warehouse. So you would create a blanket return. You can associate it with a customer if it's later identified, and you can just detail what products were returned at this particular time. So I can detail that some grapefruit units were returned, 5 units, and the return reason that the item was defective or didn't meet expectations, or you can create any custom ones if you feel like that's appropriate. You can receive the return, and again you can detail that location as well. You can also choose to return it directly back to stock. You just return it back to one of your sellable locations. So for me, that's going to be going back to my used inventory location, and with that the return is closed. And if we need to, we can view and filter any closed returns so we can monitor the rate in which products are being returned with reports. If you have any questions about how Finale Inventory can help you manage and create returns, feel free to reach out to us at service@finaleinventory.com and we'd be happy to help.